Hello everybody and welcome to our second SkySlope agent training tutorial video. If you haven't yet watched the first one, you're going to want to go back and do that so you know how to log into SkySlope and how to just generally navigate this dashboard here. But if you've already watched that video, then we're ready to go ahead and jump right in here to the pending transactions. This is where they're going to keep all my transactions that are pending but not closed yet. And you can see here they're broken up and everything I have pending is going to be at the top. There's also canceled transactions pending approval. You're going to see that if you just turned in a rescission and the manager hasn't reviewed it yet. And closed transactions to be archived. We don't actually close or archive transactions until we get the commission check, and we do it all at once. So you're probably never going to see anything in either of these two uh, sections down here. But this is where you're going to find your files up here. And one quick note, if you just single click it, it's only going to highlight it. It's a little counterintuitive. You're used to single clicking on web pages, but you double click on these to get into the files. So here you see all the different tabs we have open on this file. The first tab is going to be the transaction tab. This basically just keeps all the real basic information about the transaction. You see the MLS numbers on there, closing date, sale prices. We're asking that our agents actually don't edit anything on this page. A lot of it is going to affect things like the commission disbursement form, so we want the office and accounting to all know about it. So if you see anything on here that looks like it needs to be fixed, just notify your office administrator and they'll be able to fix it for you. The next tab we can go over, you're free to edit a bit if you'd like, but I'll go over some caveats there. So this is your seller contact information here. We get all this information and input it for you when you turn in your transaction paperwork along with your cover sheet. So pretty much everything we're going to get here is going to come from that cover sheet. So the more thorough you are in completing that, the more information we're going to have here in this contacts tab. If you ever want to edit it, you're free to edit the seller and purchaser contacts, add whatever information you want. You just click the update button and say, maybe I wanted to add a fax number. I'll add our fax number. You could add that. You could add a little note in here or something you wanted. But just be sure when you do that that you click save. Otherwise, it won't keep those changes. And then over on the left side here, you can navigate down. You can also click next through here, but it's a little easier if you go over on this side. Find what you're looking for. Buyer information works about the same way. Now here's something where, again, this is going to affect the commission disbursement probably. If you change, like, say, the escrow officer or something like that, you're probably going to want to let the office admin know instead of changing this yourself so that we can make sure that we're getting all the information out to the right place. Same with the agent representing the other side and lender information. Just let your office admin update all that stuff is probably the best route so that everybody's on the same page, because we're all sharing these files between you, the agents, and accounting and the office in general. So it's important to keep that in mind. So that's the contacts page. The commission page, it's a little hard to explain, but we are actually keeping track of commission on a different software than SkySlope. I mean, SkySlope it's a really good file storage system. It's not the best at accounting. So if you see stuff over on this right side that doesn't look right, I wouldn't worry too much about it. We're not really using that per se right now. This is more what you're going to want to look at to make sure that we have the commission correct, and if there's, if we're missing a referring agent on there or something, maybe check that out, and more so than this right side. We're keeping commission information just kind of separate from SkySlope right now, though. So the checklist tab, this is what the managers use to review all your paperwork. So all the documents you see are all broken up into little individual documents, like the purchase and sale, 21A, 22A. You definitely do not have to turn in paperwork like that. You can turn them all in as one packet, and SkySlope gives us an ability to split it up into smaller things. I'll show you that here in a second. So yeah, and that's how they go through all the whole checklist here, and everything they want you turned in will be required. And if you ever want to see what is attached to that, you can just click this, or you can just highlight over it. That's right. It'll give you a little preview there. Or you can also just click on it, and it'll open it up in a separate window. So that's probably more for the office than for you guys. Although, you know, you've probably already seen some of these. If your office is up and running, come back to you an email checklist that looks like this. This is where it comes from. And the manager can leave you notes in the comments here. You can leave them notes as well. So you can see down here, I didn't have buyer signatures on the Form 17, so maybe my manager would leave me a comment there. I don't know what I just did. Okay. You know, say I need to get buyer signatures on that. One little thing to note too, I'm not sure about every office, but I know for our office, we don't attach the earnest money receipt to the checklist unless it's the one that's signed by escrow, or, you know, in some cases a selling broker if that's how they're holding the escrow. So if you filled out one of those office earnest money forms when you turned in the check and you don't see it on there, don't worry about it yet. It's probably just, you know, you turned in your paperwork really quick and we don't have the earnest money receipt yet. So, and then we go to the Documents tab, and this is where every document is stored on the file, including ones that are not on the checklist. So a lot of times you're going to see a CDF or a CD. It's going to be the commission disbursement form. We don't attach those to the checklist because the managers just don't really need to review every single commission disbursement form that comes across. They're seeing all the paperwork in the first place. So that's, you know, some documents like that will be in there. You can access them all through here. You can move some of them into this trash folder. It's worth noting that once something's added to a file in SkySlope, it's there. I mean, these are admissible in court, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute here, but it's always there. So, I mean, you can move it into the trash folder to kind of clean it up if you maybe have duplicates of something or something. I don't think you're really going to use that too much. You can't move things to the trash if they're attached to the checklist, so you can't really do any damage here with that, but I wouldn't worry too much about moving the documents to the trash. DigiSign button here, we're going to do a separate DigiSign tutorial to show you about that. Some important notes for upload documents here. If you were going to, say I had that Form 17, I need the buyer's initials, and I got it, and I wanted to add it to the file, I would not want to upload it to the document here. The reason being is because it won't go to the checklist, and it won't alert the manager that it needs to be reviewed and that's been turned in. And so the office won't know that you did that, basically. The only reason you're going to really use upload documents is if you want something in there just for your own personal use. Like I've seen a lot of agents will put in maybe pictures they're going to use for their postcard requests. They want to add that to the file. Maybe they made a flyer, the publisher file they want to add there. That's more the kind of things you're going to be using the upload documents button for. When you're turning in documents that you need to add to the file, please just use that office email address I mentioned in the first video. I'll put the description down in the link. The links to the emails down in the description for those emails as well. That's how you're going to be turning in paperwork. Just think of it as like you probably used to have a bin that you turned in paperwork to at your office. That's what the bin is now. One of the really cool features about the Documents tab, though, is the ability to email things straight out of SkySlope. So let's say I wanted to take this 22T and I wanted to email it to the other agent. I'll just email it to myself in this example. I can say, here is that 22T you wanted. And I can send it. So that's a cool way to send documents just right out of the file. And another cool thing about that, and a good little segue here into our next tab, is over in the log, you can see it kept a little record of that email I sent. The attachment right there and everything. So that's kind of cool. Important thing to note about the log, though, is that everything you do in SkySlope pretty much shows up on here. And there's a way to attach correspondence to your emails, or like, you know, attach your emails to the file and stuff like that. And so it's just important to remember that everything that is on this log is on the record. So keep that in mind when you're adding correspondence to your email. So one of the ways you can do that is you see up top here, you have this 453 Fake Street 456 at skyslope.com email address. You can just come up here and copy this. And of course, I don't have my Outlook open, so let me pause the video for real quick. Okay, so hopefully we're back now, and you can see I got that 22T emailed to me here. So what I want to do now, let's say I want to forward this or just any email. Um, Send it to myself again, so I'm not bugging anybody else. And say, here I got that 22T. But I want to add this correspondence to the log, so I can just keep track of everything I've said in this file. A couple options there. I can either BCC it. What that'll do is it'll send it to the person I'm sending it to, and it will not show this email address to them. One of the downsides of that, though, is if they hit reply to all, it also won't send to the file again. So I prefer to CC it, which will send to the file again if they hit reply to all. And then I'll just come back when that's in the log. Okay, and I'm back, and you see it takes a few minutes for something like that to get added to the log, so don't worry if you don't see it right away. But here it is. So that's the way you can add correspondence to your file here. Whoops, went too far. Another thing you can do is you can just email somebody directly from SkySlope. So I'll say, it works basically the same way as the documents email. So again, that'll keep another file here in your log. You can print this whole log out. You can email it as well. There's search criteria you can enter here if you like, and there's also a way that you can just add notes right to the file. And that's pretty much how the log works right there. You can check out the task. We're going to do another tutorial for that. It's a little more in-depth. It's pretty cool. And there's also a property tab. I can tell you honestly, the office isn't using this for anything. If you want to use it for your own personal use, that's fine. It's there. There's also this fax cover sheet. I honestly don't really know what it does. If you want to find, I can find out if you really want to know. You can ask me. This transaction summary button, though, if you ever want to just print something out that kind of breaks down everything for you, you can just save this PDF right here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Just kind of has all the details of, the property, price, closing date, contacts, and all that stuff on here. So that's available to you as well if you want to print that out for your own use. And that's pretty much it for navigating the files. I'll just go over a couple other areas here because they're pretty much the same everywhere. Like if I show you the listings and we go in here, it's going to just have fewer tabs because there's no commission and stuff like that, but it's all the same thing. Real quick note, I guess, I don't have anything in the cancel contract folder right here, but if there was something here, there'd be a little reactivate listing button. We don't want you to use that. It's another one of the things where you just, send in the new listing paperwork to the office admin and let them do that so that we don't create duplicate files and get people all confused. Quick note, too, about the archives. Since this isn't real obvious when you look at it, you see this drop-down menu here. You can choose whether to download a zip file that'll include all the PDFs of either everything in that documents tab we went over, or just everything in the checklist tab, so the more official documents that our managers have reviewed. You can do that, but I think it's also probably going to be more useful if you're looking to access older files to just double click it. It's not real obvious that you can do that, but you can, and you can just get right into the old file here. And let me see. I didn't add a HUD to this one, but maybe you wanted to get a HUD or something. You could find it in there. And that's really all you need to know to get going on SkySlope. There's some cooler features like DigiSign and tasks that I'm going to do another video on. I think I'm going to do a quick video on the iPhone app too. It's cool stuff there. But that's pretty much everything you need to get going. Just remember, don't create any files. Don't change too much without letting your office admins know. We just want to make sure we're all on the same page and we get all your commission disbursements done correctly and you get paid on time and all that good stuff. If you have any questions for me, I'll put my contact info down at the bottom. And so hope you found this useful. Have a good one.